The Rambling Geordie.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm pretty sure Restore Britain members have already seen the announcement by Rupert Lowe today, and obviously it's going to be something I need to talk about. He has publicly offered Nigel Farage a chance to bury the hatchet and join forces. Now, it's not a merger and it's not a takeover. It's a proper alliance to smash the left before they finish the job on this country. And I think we can all agree that they are absolutely doing a job on this country. So what's he done? He's put 5 hard conditions on the table, and the reactions from both Restore Britain and Reform voters, well, they're already flying, aren't they? So let's go through the whole thing properly. So Rupert Lowe, obviously the Restore Britain leader, he dropped a video. It was calm, it was direct, and there was no name calling. He said, put personalities and past disagreements to one side. The right is hopelessly divided, which it is. There's a left-wing alliance coming that will finish what's left of this country if we don't get our act together. So he's offered Farage and Reform a common way forward, but only if they can agree on 5 points. Now, okay, I'm going to go through those 5 points now because they're very important. And it's not, like I say, this isn't just him capitulating to Nigel Farage. This isn't him just saying, oh, let's forget about it and I'll come and rejoin you again and all this. This is putting the country first, guys, okay? This is what we have to do as a group. We need to get together and stop the left from absolutely killing this country, because that's what they're doing. So, 5-point plan. What is it that he's suggesting that Reform need to do to be able to get on side with us? So, number 1, secure the borders for real. Okay, so ending mass immigration, it just isn't enough, is it? It's got to be reversed. Every single illegal migrant needs to be deported. No amnesties and no excuses. Number 2, demographic security and reverse the Islamification of Britain. So he wants to ban the burqa, ban halal and kosher slaughter. He wants to ban cousin marriage, ban Sharia courts, stop the mass public Islamic prayers dominating our streets, and he wants to make sure white British people remain the majority in their own country. Now, this isn't, these aren't sort of out there demands, are they? He wants a full referendum on the death penalty. Thank you. He wants to let the British people decide properly, free and fair, whether we bring it back. Number 4, he'd like to make Britain self-sufficient again. Massive cuts to welfare. Control public spending, take the difficult, unpopular decisions to kill inflation, and stop the country living beyond its means. And number 5, he wants to restore trust in politics. No former Tory ministers who failed the country get anywhere near a future cabinet. The public has completely lost faith in Westminster, and that revolving door of the same failures has got to end. Now, that's the deal, he said. Take it or leave it. All right, so, like I've just said there's nothing completely out there. There's nothing weird or left wing or anything remotely unreasonable in there. These are all things that I would say everyone on the right can pretty much say that they would agree with 99%. Look, you're never going to get everyone to agree on everything, but these are basic fundamental things that the right should all be after. There's been obviously a lot of noise from both sides, from both parties. So from the Restore Britain voters and supporters, I've seen a lot of them cheering it, to be fair. They're saying country first, egos second. People like Lucy Connolly and plenty of grassroots voices are calling it the honourable move. They see Lowe as the one who's actually willing to put the personal bitterness aside for the bigger fight. And that's great. He's being the bigger man in all of this. He's conceded that we can't go on like this. We can't go on divided. We got 8% the other night in Manchester. Reform got 20. We could join that together. Do you know what I mean? Or at least sort of come to some understanding where we don't fight each other. We need to be doing this, guys. So, but it's more mixed from the Reform UK voters. So some Reform MPs, Andrew Rosendale, He's come out saying that there's clear common ground and that the right of centre needs to come together against the left-wing alliance. But a lot of the grassroots reform supporters are still raw from the split. They're seeing Lowe walked away, formed a rival party, attacked Farage for months, and now wants back in on his own terms. Some are calling it a power play. Others just want Farage to stay focused on reform and ignore it. Farage himself, however, well, he hasn't said a word, has he? Look, again, this isn't, I'm not Rupert Lowe. I can't tell you what everything that the guy thinks. I've never met the man. But I know enough about the guy that I can say that he will always put the country before anything. And that's, I can say, pretty much the same for 90% of the Restore Britain voters that I know, if not more. The country comes first. It doesn't matter, if egos get hurt or anything like that. The country is all that matters. This is why we're doing this, guys. This is the whole point of Restore Britain and of Reform UK. It's to wrest the power back from the left wing. And we ain't going to do it by trying to do it on our own. Anyway. Right, so let's be honest about the pros and the cons here, okay? So, pros, for the union, it stops the right splitting the vote and handing the victory to the Labour or a left coalition. Of course it does. It combines Reform's brand recognition and organisation with Restore's harder edge and recent local momentum. Now, I don't think you can argue with that. Restore Britain hasn't got the brand recognition. We'll get it, don't get us wrong, if we keep going. But why not combine forces and, we're much harder on the... We've got a much harder edge. We've got a lot more to say about a lot more topics than what Reform has. Even though they're on the same wavelength, we'll go a lot harder and stuff. It shows the public that the right can put the country before personality. And that's what we need to do. We need to come together, man. We need to show that it's not just about who's the best leader or who's the richest leader, anything like that. It also creates a broader, far more aggressive platform that could pull in disaffected Tories and some Labour voters, because there will be some out there. And it also forces the left to face a united opposition instead of two rival right-wing parties who are just sniping at each other all the time. Now, if you look at the arguments against the union, obviously there's a few. There's the personal distrust. We've got to put that front and centre, haven't we? Lowe's expelled from Reform and is called Farage managed opposition. They've had a massive fallout, okay? Police were involved, accusations of this, that and t'other, But the person who suffered the most because of that is the one calling for the actual union. I think that shows you just how serious Rupert really is about this whole thing. And you've got to take your hat off to the guy. He's willing to, to swallow a very bitter pill here for the sake of the country. Now, there is policy gaps. Restore is significantly harder on culture, demographics in Islam than mainstream Reform messaging is. I know that's one of the big sticking points for a lot of voters. It does risk, so another one, it does risk that one side swallows the other and alienates their core voters. I get that, okay? Anyone from Restore looking at it will think, well, Reform are just going to take over and we're just going to be sort of shoved out. Well, not necessarily. Rupert's not the kind of guy that would just lie down and take whatever Reform said to him. He's an intelligent guy and he's a fighter. He's not just going to say, you just run it and I'll sit back and watch. I mean, the timing looks opportunistic. It does look like Restore, we've had a decent showing in Greater Manchester. And it does look opportunistic from the point of view of, well, Restore are doing okay, but they could be doing better. and the only way they're going to do better is if they hop on the back of reform. Well, I don't think that would ever happen. Like I said, Rupert wouldn't allow that to happen. Because I mean, you look at Farage has spent years building reform as, well, the main platform on the right now, isn't he? If he brought Rupert back in, it could look like weakness, or could look like a takeover. So I don't think Rupert means, that it will just join and be one big party, restorm UK or whatever. I can't say it personally, but if we can just put this stuff behind us and start working together a bit more, maybe we'll actually get some stuff done, guys, eh? Instead of chasing lefty lunatics around and not being able to make any fucking headway, whatsoever. Look, I'm not here to pick sides, okay? Well, I mean, I am. If I'm going to pick a side, it's going to be Restore Britain. But I'm not here to try and just put reform down either. These are two men who, Nigel and Rupert, these are two men that they can't stand each other, okay? But when you look at what Rupert said, what he's offered, Nigel would be a fool not to at least hear him out. Not to at least, have a meeting with the guy. Talk it through a bit. Got nothing to lose. What I care about the most, and what a load of other Restore and Reform members, well, I would say the majority of the right cares for, is whether Britain gets saved or continues to be dismantled by these leftist lunatics. Now, if this alliance happens and they actually stick to these 5 points, especially the first two, it could be probably the most serious challenge the left has faced in decades. If it collapses into more bitterness and vote splitting, then, well, the only winners are going to be, I nearly said Storm, are they? Jesus. The only winners are going to be Burnham, slightly the Lib Dems, but the Greens as well. And that's not going to do anything for the right, is it? So the question isn't whether Lowe and Farage like each other, okay? We know they don't. The question is whether they hate the destruction of this country more than they actually dislike each other. What do you think, guys? Should Farage take the offer, or is this dead on arrival? What do you reckon? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing it. All right, I'll catch you later, guys. Cheers.
Don't be daft, man.